You're listening to the Board Game Snobs podcast, a ridiculous podcast with ridiculous hosts that discuss ridiculous things. And any mention of board games is purely coincidental. And so, without further ado, and with a heavy dollop of shame and embarrassment on my part, I give you the Board Game Snobs.
Welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast. With me today, the irrepressibly convivial Richard, we're not wizards, Simpson. I had to look that up. I heard that phrase the other day. I was like, irrepressibly convivial. I like that. What does it mean? And
does that mean just like polite and friendly and stuff? No,
like friendly and like joyful and like happy, like just a good, you put out good vibes.
How are you doing? How's things? Because you were on holiday. I believe you were on holiday.
Well, you said that. You're like, I thought you were on vacation. Now, I don't know how long vacations last in Europe, but here we get like 3 days and it all has to be on our own time and paid for by ourselves. I got like literally 3 days vacation, but of course you add that to the weekend. So I got 5 days vacation. And that's when we went to Miami to see my brother-in-law.
Yeah.
I got sunburned, but I did get to sit on the beach, look at all the beautiful things, and then we came back, and I was terrified the whole flight up there, the whole flight back, which inspired a conversation between me and Jerry about journeys and destinations. And I hate traveling. I hate flying. I hate having to get to somewhere. I enjoy being there, but I just want to be at the destination. And therefore, Jerry's like, no, part of the destination is the journey, and getting there is part of what makes the experience so much better. And I finally, because Jerry, he will talk enough to I will just say, you know what? You make a fine point.
You do.
And often he does, but generally, I would say 90% of the time that me and him have a disagreement, and we ask for emails, they always, I'm the reasonable one. Jerry just thinks his opinions are facts. He thinks his opinions are facts.
But he's there. But he's trying to give these opinions out there because he's kind of put them as facts. I mean, so he can get cancelled.
He wants to get canceled. He is a smart man. He is a smart man. But he's not as smart as he thinks he is. So, where do you land on this discussion? If you are, where do you go on vacation? Okay. Where would you like to go?
Right. Okay. And journeys are a different thing over in the UK, and I'll tell you the reason why. Okay, is that generally our commuter times are a lot shorter. So somebody said, because I have a few friends on your side of the pond, as they would say. And me saying that it takes me, when I used to drive to work, I used to commute to work, it used to take me 45 minutes. And people that I spoke to couldn't believe that it only took me 45 minutes to actually drive to work and get to the office. Only. Now, in America, I've heard that, people will say, well, I'm going to drive and visit my grandma, and she's like 6 hours away, and apparently that's an acceptable time to go and travel and see a relative. And to me, that's just far too long.
6 hours away is a long way to me.
6 hours away is a huge amount of way. But you speak to some people and they're like, oh yeah, if you have a friend,
you can drive from Spain to France in that point, can't you?
Yeah, but it's like if you can drive from like something
from
like
Spain to New Zealand, right?
It's not that close. It's not like we're all together on one side of the globe.
Oh, so say you.
California apparently takes about 3 weeks to drive up. If you're going from South to North California, it takes like about a month and a half.
Well, everything is so wide open here. Like, I live in Texas. There's a place in Texas south of us, Big Bend. It's near the Mexico border. It is 10 hours away just driving south and in Texas, all in Texas.
And does that stay in Texas? You're not actually leaving state. You're not
yeah. That's all in Texas.
I can drive, okay, from literally where I live just now, probably to pretty close to the southern point of the entirety of the UK within about 10 hours. I would reckon. If I pushed myself a bit, I could get pretty much the whole length of the country. Now, I live in the middle part of Scotland, so I could drive 10 hours easily, and I would quite easily be looking at the south coast of England. So that you saying it's 10 hours and you're staying in the same state, that's what I mean. That kind of blows my mind. In terms of holidays, I used to be the person I'd be quite happy to, if I'm by myself, I'm not fussed about journeying. But see, if I'm journeying with other people, sitting in airports and stuff like that for 4 or 5 hours at a time, or 3 hours, or having that. And so we've taken, because we've got the dog now, and it can be difficult to take them anywhere. We don't want to leave them in any kind of kennels or any place like that. So we took them on holiday with us, and the place that we went to was 2 hours away. It was up to a loch. A Scottish lake, a loch, yeah.
You gotta see Nessie.
No, well, we weren't too far. We were near the biggest loch in Scotland, which is Loch Lomond. But it was only 2 hours away. And the best thing about it was that when it came to the last day of the holiday and we were all packed up, we just knew that once we got in the car and we drove for 2 hours, we were home again. And the biggest killer for me is when you get to the end of the holiday and you realise you've got to commute an hour to get to the airport. Then you're going to have to wait 2 hours in the airport. Then you've got a 4-hour flight. Then you've got an hour on the other side. And you're literally, you get to that point on the way home and you're just like, this is just going to never again.
It's the worst.
This is just going to absolutely kill me. So holiday-wise, I think all intents and purposes, while we'd like to go abroad again, I think that we're more likely to kind of stay within, either go north further into Scotland or go south. There's the place in the north of England called the Lake District. Mm-hmm. And it's got some love. It's all green. You go down there, you drive.
Is a lake the same as a loch? What's a loch?
It's
a pond?
No.
A lake or a loch?
Watch it.
Loch.
It's just the Scottish version.
I'd loch to go to the lake.
I'd loch to go to the lake. Exactly. You're going in the loch, no, I'm going in the lake. It's the same thing. It's just
the same thing.
The terminology. It's just the name.
It's just one is the long A, one is the short A.
It's tomato and tomato.
I was saying the other day, the problem with the English language is our vowels. This is a short vowel, this is a long vowel, the A, the A, the O, the Ah. They should have just made a completely made up new letter for that short and long. Like the A could be the A, but if it's A, it needs to be like a completely different shape. That would make the English language so much more easier, in my opinion.
Somebody always said, and it always sticks out to me, and I see it come up time and time again, that the English language is literally 3 other languages in a trench coat, basically walking about. And that's why it's like there's so many different kind of pronunciations of stuff, like bow and trough and through. They've all got O-U-G-H, and they're pronounced different.
It's got Gaelic and Latin and all these languages smashed together. Well, that's I do not enjoy traveling. Okay, well, here we go. I'll just say this for this purpose. This Daniel Holding of Dice Spire, he wrote in regarding this subject in an email. We like to read emails and acknowledge our fans writing in because we do ask for emails, and then oftentimes Jerry doesn't even bother to read the emails. So here I am holding down the fort. This is a real
couples therapy session.
Don't you get me started on Jerry.
He's not even here to defend himself.
He won't even call me. I'm like, we need to, okay. And you know what else? You know why you're on here? Because I have told myself I am tired of hassling Jerry to record. If he wants to record, he's going to call me. Because it's the whole thing of, he's like, well, just call me when you get a chance. Call me when you're free. I'll see if I'm free. No, I'm always free. You call me when you're free. All right. Sorry. I'm gonna calm
This is
down.
kind of like a Jerry Springer type moment.
He is the father of my adversity. Daniel Hoding says, now, okay, Daniel, you kind of chose a middling point, a cheat. I agree with both Gaby and Jerry in regards to our traveling. He says, I'll give 2 examples from his trip to Israel back in 2017. Israel must be nice. Experience numero uno. He mixed in some Spanish here. He knew I could read it because I'm Hispanic. We walked up Mount Masada. It's a very cool ruined fortress city. I saw the movie, Daniel. I know what you're talking about. With a sad history in the life of Israel. The ruins at the top of the hill were very cool in their own right. However, there was a very long, steep, rough hike up the mountain to get there. Now, there is a gondola which you could ride to get up there if you didn't want to hike it. Would I have still enjoyed the ruins? Yes, but nowhere near as much as after having spent 2 hours hiking up the mountain. Okay, he doesn't really elaborate on why he enjoyed the hike so much, but I'm assuming it's a joyful hike. I don't know.
That sounds like self-imposed pain. Dan sounds like the type of person that, he has the choice of driving 3 hours to work, or he can cycle and it takes 5 hours. And what he does is he cycles in, but not when it's nice. He cycles in when it's raining.
Yeah.
And he walks in with his head almost bleeding from the hailstones that have been hitting off his head. And he comes in and he shakes himself off before he goes, I cycled in today. And he makes sure he's like a vegan.
And he's like, oh, yeah. He's like a vegan that does CrossFit. He has to let everyone know.
He lets everybody know.
Okay, but here we go. He does give an experience numero dos, which I understand because, once again, I'm Hispanic. So the first scenario, he's saying the journey helped him appreciate the destination. Here, in example numero dos, he says we got lost on the way to one of the Roman-built cities. So basically, he's just bragging about how much he gets to travel. Okay, we get it, Daniel. Must be nice. It was very hot, something 40 degrees Celsius. I don't understand y'all's Celsius, but I assume that's like close to 100 degrees.
Yeah, okay. Let's you keep talking and I'll double check.
When me and Dan were discussing this in our last podcast, he was like, it's 40 degrees here. And I was like, I think that's like close to 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
It's 104.
104? Good
104.
grief.
I don't know what that is. That's really hot.
He says it was, okay, so we got lost on the way to one of the Roman-built cities. It was very hot, 104 degrees or 40 degrees Celsius. Spell check, Daniel. We were in the car with no AC, no GPS signal, driving around trying to follow an old-fashioned paper map to get to the destination.
Yeah.
By the time we got there, we were all so fed up with the heat, the trip, being lost, and annoyed at each other. Now, were you annoyed at each other because you were lost? Did someone give you bad directions, or is just one of you cantankerous and difficult to deal with? I'm not quite sure why they were annoyed at each other.
Or did somebody refuse to admit that they maybe got the directions wrong?
Or did somebody fart and no one would fess up to it? And they're like, who farted? And they just kept farting the whole time in this hot, stinky car. And the windows were broke and they couldn't get the windows down. So they were just angry.
They're sitting in a brown fog getting kind of angrier.
But by the time they got there, they were all bitter and definitely didn't enjoy it anywhere near as much as we could have because of they were so irritated with the experience of getting there. They were hot, lost, tired, mad, that once they got there, it ruined the experience. So that's what I'm saying. Transporter beams. If we had transporter beams, we could avoid all these traveling problems.
I reckon he would have got there still and told everybody what his journey was like.
Mason Pierce.
Well, here we go. Mason Pierce.
Mason Pierce.
Sounds like a lawyer's firm.
Perry Mason Pierce. Says, Gaby, he addressed it to me because I'm the one that checks the emails. I do everything.
Because he knows you turn up.
Jerry was like, oh yeah, I'll respond to our Patreon. No, I've responded to all the Patreons I can. Jerry has responded to like one. Anyway, I love Jerry. I love him, but he drives me insane. Anyway.
Mason Pierce. Mason Pierce. Are you calm now? Do you want to take a second, okay?
Okay, I do.
Just back down.
Hold on.
There you go. Have a drink, okay? There's having a little drink here. Oh, is that a branded board game Snobs?
No, it's a sticker.
Oh, it's a sticker. And where did you get that sticker from?
Redbubble. Actually, this is part of the Gateway Network, which I don't know if it's defunct or not, but
all right.
Ryan James of the Gamecasters kindly put our stuff on Redbubble. Before, kind of, we did Sir Meeple, but now we're exclusively Sir Meeple, except for the stuff that we have on Redbubble. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
You're on Sir Meeple too.
I am.
We're not
Tim
wizards.
is a good man.
If you want to look
man.
up a semi-defunct podcast, We're Not Wizards, check out his stuff on Sir Meeple.
We still do stuff. We still do stuff.
You've had one podcast in 3 years.
Look, I gave myself... Right, I recorded enough shows to cover myself off for the next 5 years. I mean, let's face it, if I was doing one a month, I'm covered until 2037 at the moment.
That's true. And you do have a blog, which I'll get to here momentarily.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, Mason Pierce.
Mason Pierce says, Gaby, just wanted to say, I think your point regarding travel is valid. I could just stop there, but I'll continue on. I don't think one should have to suffer to properly experience the wonders of the world. People who live 10 minutes from the Grand Canyon or Mount Fuji don't deserve to enjoy those places any less than those who have to trek 20 hours to get there. Sure, being forced to work for something through suffering tends to make it feel like a bigger deal, but that doesn't mean it has to make it feel like a bigger deal. I work across the street from the Liberty Bell. For a while, I worked across the street from the Liberty Bell. You know what the Liberty Bell is, Richard?
I'm guessing it's a bell, and if you ring it, then an angel gets its wings.
An angel of freedom and independence.
An angel of freedom screaming out the First Amendment.
Screaming at King George, saying, "Frack you, George." Anyway, it has something to do with independence, blah, blah, blah.
All right, okay.
From the British.
All right.
I worked across the street from the Liberty Bell. You should watch National, what's the movie with...
National Lampoons?
No, not National Lampoons. The one with...
National Treasure with...
Gone in 60 Seconds, yeah.
Nick Cage.
Nick Cage.
National Treasure.
Have you seen National Treasure?
I'm not going to watch some kind of American patriot.
You should watch National Treasure.
Nonsense.
Enjoy the proper... Actually, it's...
Yeah.
Anyway.
They all start off kind of anti-American, but by the end they're all smoking cigars. And
it all ends up with Freemasons in the end. It has to do with Freemasons. Mason Pierce, I continue.
That's like a film. There's another film to follow up, which is about a whale, which is called Free Willy.
I have never seen Free Willy, but I enjoyed the Michael Jackson song. Boom, ding, 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 ding.
I gotta stop you because otherwise you're gonna sing the whole song. Right?
Anyway, Mason Pierce worked across the street from the Liberty Bell for a while, and he would occasionally eat Burger King on the lawn of Independence Hall, as the founding fathers would have wanted, to soak in the place. Best Mason. Oh, I thought you were going to go somewhere with that, Mason, but he kind of just stops right there.
I thought that was just a humble brag, isn't it? And I used to like sit at the feet of the Statue of Liberty and wonder where everything went wrong while I was eating, a macaroni cheese.
Ooh, go ahead.
That's what I used to do. And it had a little bit of garlic on it and some occasional bits of
garlic
bacon.
on macaroni and cheese?
Yes. Or
I've never tried that.
Are you joking me?
I've never tried garlic on macaroni and cheese.
What? Are you joking me? You've never... What?
I'm a mac and cheese aficionado.
You're obviously not an official. You've got to watch, because if there's a knock at the door right now, it'll be the mac and cheese aficionados demanding to hand your badge back in.
Garlic salt. Is that what you said?
A little bit of garlic salt or a little bit of onion salt.
Duly noted. Do you put that on the Kraft mac and cheese? Or homemade mac and cheese?
Homemade mac and cheese every way. Or you can use the Kraft one. Do you want an even better one than that, okay?
I do. I always want the better version.
Okay. French baguette.
Do you ever say, do you want a worse version?
Well, I could say a worse version, and that would just be... Take some macaroni cheese.
Put some poop
put
on
it. In the Put it in the same car as that guy farting when he was driving. And then you've got macaroni puff cheese.
But I will take the better. Go ahead.
Okay. Diagonally sliced French bread. Okay. Approximately 3/4 of an inch thick. Okay.
So a diagonal slice down the middle, the half, diagonal like the slice, halfway point.
Like a slice. Okay. Toast that. But how you toast it, okay, is you put a little bit of virgin olive oil on it, on the top. Okay, stick it, you toast one side, turn it over, virgin olive oil, a little bit, toast that side, get your macaroni cheese, okay? Macaroni cheese on top of the toast, okay? Sprinkle a little bit of maybe slightly cheddar-y type cheese, onion, salt, potentially a little bit of garlic. If you want to be really, really fruity, a little bit of paprika. Stick it back under the grill for about 5 minutes until the cheese gets a little bit extra crunchy and crispy. You're welcome.
Is that a mac and cheese sandwich?
It's kind of like a mac and cheese open club sandwich.
It's an open. So you're putting it. So the sandwich, you didn't cut the sandwich like in half, as in to put make it a sandwich, but you put the mac and cheese on top.
Slice, a big slice. Yeah, and then you can just eat it. It's amazing.
Like the entire time you were talking, my brain was being tickled.
So there you go. As long as that's the right thing, because if we talk about anything else, I don't want anything else getting tickled.
No, it was perfectly the right thing.
There you go.
It was better. You were correct.
There you go. It is better. And that's it. Worse, it could be if it's cold. Worse if you find it the next morning when you're hungover.
Would you like
and it's cold.
Better?
Yes. No. Any more emails?
Oh, yes, I have 2 more emails, and then we'll get to your business.
Right. Okay. Let's keep going because I feel we're in a good place.
A new Patreon donator, Robin Zwicker. Appreciate it, Robin.
Thank you, Robin. I don't see any of that money for appearing tonight, by the way. But I'm just thanking Robin anyway.
I'll send you a few shekels. I know Gaby. Okay, well, Robin, you spelled my name wrong. I only have one B. It's Gaby. I understand. That seems to be typical, but it's Gaby. So Gaby is 2 B's, but that's okay. I think that's an American thing. I understand. I know, Gaby, you enjoy movies. I do. A question popped into my mind. Since you're all expert movie patrons, period. That's a weird sentence you wrote there, Robin. Since you're all expert movie patrons, and then a period.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of an incomplete thought, but I'll allow it. But I'm not going to make fun, Robin, because you just donated to our Patreon. So everything you do is correct.
Everything he does is wonderful.
What is the best candy pairing with popcorn? What portions of each makes the perfect mix? How do you mix the two? Pour into the tub, or a handful of this and a handful of that? Which is the best standard movie popcorn without butter, with butter, or kettle corn? Thoughts on many questions. Thoughts on caramel. Thoughts on caramel popcorn. Caramel. Robin, you. Robin.
No, stop.
This is
stop.
Okay.
Stop
all right,
again.
You're right.
Stop
you're
again.
Right. Okay.
Stop again. Stop again. Have a drink. Okay. Are we good?
Carmel's a place you visit in California, Robin. But okay.
Obviously means caramel. Obviously means caramel.
Popcorn.
And also, can I just say that Robin is also a girl's name potentially as well? So
I have made it gender neutral.
Oh, there you go.
I've been saying they.
Yeah, I have been.
I actually I'm pretty sure they follow us on Facebook. I'll have to double check. I believe it's he.
Good.
Either way, we'll go they for now.
There you go.
Thoughts on caramel popcorn, for it or against it, Robin Z. Okay, so there are several questions asked. Number 1, what is the best candy pairing with popcorn? For me, without a doubt, just original plain chocolate M&Ms. Pour them in there, and they say what portions of each makes. If it's a movie popcorn, a large,
Yeah.
Get you a regular box of M&M. Just pour the whole thing in there. Give it a few shakes. Here's the problem. All the M&Ms will end up on the bottom of the bucket.
That can happen, yeah.
So then you could just shake in half, eat, try to get you a few M&Ms in there with your popcorn. I got that from my mother. I've since been doing it. It's addictive. You get a little touch of chocolate with your popcorn. Popcorn is surprisingly versatile with the things that you can mix with it. I also enjoy Louisiana hot sauce on my popcorn. Have you ever tried that?
You're a monster.
Have you ever tried it?
Look, I'm coming from the place where we don't even... You're doing this, what candy do you mix with your popcorn?
Scottish hot sauce. Do y'all even have hot sauce?
We kind of... Well, no, we don't, because it's like, everything is fairly bland. We don't have a hot sauce.
What is it? Cabbage sauce? What do y'all have there?
It was something that was strange that somebody said to me recently that the original kind of curry, as in tikka masala and stuff like that, was like invented either in Glasgow or in Bradford or Manchester or one of these places, that it wasn't actually an actual original dish from Bangladesh or India or Pakistan, is that it actually when the people first emigrated into the UK, that they invented it because people expected curries to be quite hot and spicy. So it's something that somebody went, I'll give you hot and spicy. So that's what they did. The popcorn with the candy thing, that's not something I've not heard of that.
Really? Some people do gummy bears. Some people do gummy bears. I can't. Well, hey, don't knock it till you try it, as they say, Richard.
I suppose
Put you some chocolate M&Ms.
My problem with that is if you don't get properly unpopped, if not every kernel is popped, and you're reaching to the bottom, how do you know?
There are
and
dangers.
You're blind eating. I mean, you're entering Russian roulette territory where you could be taking unpopped kernels, putting them into your mouth at the same time as you've got M&Ms. You're crunching down hard, and all I hear is the crunch of these molars hitting unpopped kernels, and then it's,
Once you get to the bottom, that's a risk you got to take.
Is that how you make it? So is that when you're getting to the end of the film, you're approximately getting to that point with the popcorn? So you're almost sharing the risk of the main characters as they reach the finale of the film, that you potentially could end up in thousands of dollars of debt for dental work due to gnashing down on popcorn.
We're in this together.
In all honesty,
your dog is really barking. Your dog's adorable. He's adorable, but he's a barker.
He is a barker.
Clive Barker.
He is the river. He is the river in Books of Blood, which is brilliant because as I talk while he's barking, that means there's no way that's going to be possible to edit this out. So he's going to be in the background.
I would have put some. It's not just you, dear listener. Richard has a dog barking incessantly in the background.
He's not incessantly. He's calmed down a bit.
Quite incessant.
He is calmed. It's not incessant. Okay. He's kind of insistent. I think it's not incessant. He's more kind of
is that how you got here? You never know with dogs.
You never. Well, I think so. Salted caramel is my weapon of choice when it comes to popcorn.
Salted caramel?
Salted caramel. It's a really nice flavor.
I am OG. I just give me plain old popcorn. I don't. Really? I do not like the movie oil/butter.
No.
So I always just take it dry because it's plenty salty and enough calories without it. I don't need that extra oil clogging up my already thick arteries. I don't care for caramel popcorn. I will eat it like Cracker Jacks. I don't like them because that's the issue with Cracker Jacks. Like the first 2 handfuls are fine, and then everything after that is just hard kernels, and you're going to bust your teeth. Which is the best standard movie with butter, or I just like original popcorn, no butter. Robin.
What I do like is if you get say a bowl of popcorn, and then you get some macaroni cheese, and you put your macaroni cheese on top of your popcorn, and then you put some onion salt.
You might think you're joking right now. You might think you're joking.
Some cheese.
But, macaroni and cheese makes everything delicious.
And then you put that under the grill.
If you get those fluffy kernels, make sure there's no other hard kernels in there.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
It's
I couldn't imagine.
It's like that Portlandia. They're like, put a bird on it. In my case, if it's food, put mac and cheese on it. See what happens.
I wonder what mac and cheese would be like with a steak.
I've had mac and cheese with steak. I don't put it on top of the steak.
See, I think you potentially put it on top.
It's a good side. It's a good side. I mean, depends on the quality of the steak. A good steak, no.
Any more emails?
One more. This is from.
Let's read it. Come on, let's. I don't. Do you know what I don't want? I don't want people, because there's nothing worse than you go, oh well, maybe this week I'll send in my email and somebody's going to read out my email, and then they go through the emails and your email doesn't get read out. And then you don't bother doing an email again. Because,
and that makes me sad, because that has no doubt happened with us, because we often ask for emails for podcast fodder, and then we always end up in like some random discussion and never get to any of the stuff we originally intended on talking about.
Well, that is just the nature of your podcast, and that's the way it's going to be. You just have to accept that. This is part of this kind of healing.
This is from one of our dearest of listeners, Lindsay of Lindsay and Eric. She says, "Hi, Snobs," and sends a little hand wave.
Hello.
I hope you haven't melted from the 7th level of hell hot summer.
It's been very hot. Not yet.
I have a small pool outside that I dip in and out of. My veggie garden is toast. A cactus literally sprouted up, and that's about all that's still alive. I believe they're somewhere like in Missouri. So, yes, it's hot there as well. Anyways, this one's actually game-related. Here we go.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
For a board game podcast. Anyways, Eric taught me to play Lacerda's CO2 this weekend. Apropos. Not the remake, but the original. I gave up on Kanban, or Kanban, however you want to say it, because the scoring was so convoluted, and Venos was... And all I have here is a pukey emoji. So not a fan of Venos, apparently. So I've been apprehensive about learning another Lacerda. I know y'all have played some Lacerda games. I really enjoyed CO2, though. Have you played? We have not played CO2. I believe of the Lacerdas, me and Jerry have played. Jerry has Venos. I think he does have the first edition. He played Kanban. I think he actually has, like, isn't there a Kickstarter or something for like a new revised,
there was
smoothified
Kanban EX or so. I think it's EV.
I think
Kanban
Jerry's
EV or Kanban EVX.
I think he's in on that, but we have not played that. The ones I have played is Gallerist, On Mars. That may be it. I've played Gallerist and On Mars. There. We have pretty different tastes in games and themes, so you'd probably describe it as dry and themeless, but you should give it a go. Rulebook sucks, fair warning, in regards to CO2. Have a great weekend, Lindsay. Sorry, Lindsay. She wrote this a couple weeks ago, so we're just now getting to that. Lacerda, I have a Gallerist is one of those that we see the good things in it, but Lacerda tends to put so much stuff, in my opinion, unnecessary things that do convolute his games. Like, they could be so streamlined. On Mars, I really, really liked, but it's so difficult to get on the table because there's so many little ticky-tacky rules that are just added on, and free. This is a free move. You literally do one move, but then everything else is all these alternate decisions you have to make and have to remember. And so I'm not a huge Lacerda fan.
My issue with Lacerda is that you need somebody who's experienced in the Lacerda game to actually teach it. And it's almost sometimes you feel that you would actually need Lacerda on your shoulder while you're playing the game so they can point out all of these extra little rules that are going on. And there's so much. And I've seen a lot of people comment, oh, we've played this game, but now we need to go back. We've played Venos, but we need to go back and play it again because we knew we got this rule wrong and we have to play the whole thing. But it was such a number crunchy type game, or it was such a big meal to digest, that to go back and get the same people to play the game again is going to be a bit of a task. Because we kind of enjoyed it, but I heard a lot of people saying it can be a ticking off exercise. But it depends on the type of weight of games that you want to be playing. Because I understand some people absolutely love it They're like, give me Kanban all day. Give me Vinhouse on my face. Give me all, I want CO2. I don't want to only breathe out CO2. I want to breathe it in as well. And I understand people that completely just want to smother themselves in it. And for me,
Lisboa is like another. I want to play Lisboa because I hear such sharply, like either it's one of the. I feel like most people either hate or love his stuff. There's not much middle ground.
I think it's down to how you're taught and how you play. And I think with some of these bigger games out there, that if you have somebody that's willing to come in and almost like I'm here to teach as opposed to I'm here to play, then I think if they're willing to kind of hold your hand and show you everywhere that you're going wrong, I think you're going to have a good time. But if you have on the other side of it, I think there's too many times it'd be like, I'm going to stop and check the rules, I'm going to stop and check the rules. And I think they're wonderful games, and there's people that really, really love them. And obviously the Kickstarter stuff as well. People love the Kickstarter. They keep going back and throwing money. And the artwork's usually fantastic and the components are really, really brilliant. But
yeah, they are very nicely produced. I will say that.
So what kind of weight a game? I mean, what kind of weight a game do you kind of prefer? I mean, have you been playing anything recently that's kind of like you've gone back to that you really, really kind of liked?
I have Underwater Cities literally sitting on my table that I've been playing solo. I would say that's about as heavy as I like to go. We played Carnegie. I really liked Carnegie.
That was a Kickstarter, wasn't it, quite recently?
Yeah, but I bought it in retail.
That's
so
strange.
I don't know.
Was it an older version you maybe bought, or was it the newest?
No,
version?
it's the new one. And it's also on BGA, Board Game Arena, and it's a fine...
Right, okay.
It's a really good game on there. Yeah, Underwater Cities, Carnegie, I don't know what those weights are. I think they're pretty close. Like, they're on the heavy end of the threes, but I don't like to... I prefer... My area is like Concordia.
Yeah.
Like, that rule book is just super small, simple, because it is a simple game, but the old cliche of simple game, yet deep strategy. Like, your movements are so, like, you do this one thing, but with that one thing, you have many decisions to make. Are you going to do that one thing here, 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 or here? And with that come all these other decisions. That's my cup of tea. Lacerda's, and even from there, if you go into like GMT games, like the war style games that are so these books of intense type and text that it's like, we never discussed this, but we tried to play Cuba Libre, which is like the introductory into the GMT war style games.
Yeah.
Jerry read it, figured it all out. We attempted to play a game of it at BGG Spring. Me, Jerry, Bubba, Enrique. No, it was Mike. Enrique wasn't there. Anyway, it's so asymmetrical, and I had no idea what was going on, who was doing what I'm supposed to do. It was too wide open a thing for me. So I prefer a very streamlined, limited style game where, like, these are the 1, 2, 3 actions you can take. Yeah. Take those, and within that, you have some decisions to make. But I like it to be limited for my own brain, because beyond that, it's hard for me to follow.
I just can't. I'm not like, and there's this GIF or GIF, whatever you call them. There's the one of Zach Galifianakis kind of looking at different numbers and equations and stuff like that. And when I go to the board game club, there's a couple of people that you can hand them a rule book, you can tell them the rules, and they've already know exactly what they're going to be doing within the first couple of turns to win the game. And I always have a simple philosophy when I play games, which is, if I come third, I'm happy. Because my brain, I'm a bear of very small brain. Yeah. I can't work these things out. So
third out of 3?
Yeah, third out of 3 is fine. I mean, if I come second, then that's fine. Most of the time when I'm playing games nowadays,
I shoot not to be last. That's what I shoot for.
I'm not even that fussed because it's been so long. I mean, the first time, it must have been last Friday was the first time that I kind of met up with people that I hadn't seen in 2.5 years, which was the strangest thing because we've all been a bit cautious because there's a couple of my friends have got, they're pretty much immune suppressed, and so it's the first time in a while before we're all clear, and COVID is on the increase again in Scotland across the UK.
COVID's been eradicated here in Texas. It doesn't exist. I heard
they wrote a law about that.
You don't have to even wear a mask.
It's brilliant.
You don't have to.
They got rid of that. I'm not going to get political because I have a lot of thoughts of it. I have a lot of thoughts about Texas. So
it's only in your brain. If you believe it's not there, it's not there. That's how it works here in Texas.
I call on the healing power of denial.
The Rio Grande has fixed it.
We thought the denial was in Egypt, but it turns out it's in Texas.
Lots of denial.
But no, so when it came down to games, we played Brian Boru recently. Osprey Games. It's basically a kind of it's a lovely kind of, it's kind of like a slight difference between a kind of an area control kind of trick taking kind of game. So what you'll do is you'll
trick taking.
Yeah, no, but you say that, but it's kind of like winning the hand. So basically everybody plays the cards. There's cards between the numbers of 1 to 25. They're not repeated. So there's numbers 1 to 25. They're like four different colours. You've got a red, yellow, blue, and you've also got a grey card. And one of them represents battling, one of them represents marriage, one of them represents the church. You're basically taking over you're basically playing as Brian Boru, the High King of Ireland, trying to reunite Ireland. And you play this, you play cards to win the trick, and if you win the trick, you take over a territory. But if you lose, you get the kind of the loser spoils. So the card's divided into two things. So the top part is generally you get to win an area that's currently being contested. The bottom part, you're allowed to basically move up the managed track or fight off some Vikings or add some congregation to your church. Basically, that's how it works. And it's that kind of thing. It's just kind of fairly kind of minimalist and kind of easy-ish to kind of understand. And then you literally play like kind of 4 rounds. The person who wins the trick wins the area. Everybody else kind of is always winning. And the best thing about it is once you get to the end of that particular bigger round, then you work out who's the highest on each of the individual tracks. And the person who wins, they get wiped out. They basically get dropped to the bottom. Whereas the people who came second and third, they stay on the track, but they maybe lose a place. And what it means is that sometimes even if you are kind of like second or third, it's worthwhile kind of being in that situation because you can win kind of later on. And it takes about 45 minutes to an hour to play, but once you're rattling through, and it's not overly complicated, but there was a couple of little rules in there that interpretation's a funny thing. In that you can get 3 different people reading like one paragraph in a set of rules and come to 3 completely different conclusions about how certain things work. So we did have somebody at the side that was like, they were dying to play, but they kept saying, "Oh, I'm going to go away," but they never took part, but they kept kind of jumping in and saying, "Oh, I thought it was this and I thought it was that." So they're sowing the seeds of confusion, but it was a very, very fun game. I really
Why does the person in first get knocked off the track?
So that they don't dominate the track the next time it comes round again, basically. Wow. So that once you've won, you win the spoils. You basically win the kind of the spoils of being first on the track.
Like each round or something?
Yeah, each round, and then you drop back to the bottom again, so that you're never, because everybody's climbing. The other one I played was Dune Imperium, which is your worker placement darling.
One. We like that one.
I won that one. And I was really, really surprised. But something that it just clicked on me, and I knew exactly
what character
did
you have? Did you win with?
I was the Duke, I think. I was the.
I had Dave Bautista when I played Jerry last time, and he's real good in battle, and I won. Yeah, I like him.
I just managed to forge alliances up the left-hand side of the track. So I won kind of all my points from there. So by the end of it, I was like streets ahead of everybody else because everybody was slowly kind of building up the lead. And I just went, I'm going to just form alliances and get as far up the track as I possibly could. That's
why I like that game so much, because you can take several different ways to a victory. You can battle your way there, go up that alliance track. Let's say several different ways. I mentioned 2. Surely there's a third, but yeah, I'll speak for Jerry because he's not here. We love that game.
Well, I am here, Gaby.
Hey, Jerry.
Am here.
Good to see you.
I've had a little bit of hay fever. And
I have said nothing but positive things about you this episode.
I decided to jump in at the end here. I'm sound maybe a little bit stuffed up, but that's because I've been out there. I managed to make it rain.
Find the Tiger King.
You're being so terrible because he's not here to actually defend himself. He's going to listen to this and he's going to go, like, that's it. I'm going to take the REON out of our Patreon and I'm just going to leave and you're just going to be left with nothing but Pat.
No, we will, let's see, this episode will be out the weekend that we are recording. We are recording here on Sunday, the 31st.
Yes.
This will come out, let's see if I could do quick math, August the 3rd.
Oh, so it's only a couple of days away.
August the 3rd. Me and Jerry have a play date. We try to get together. So far we have been successful. The first Friday of every month. So that will be this Friday as of this recording, August the 5th. So we will play games. I don't know that we have anything new to play. He's had Race to the Rhine here on my shelf for a long time. We have Alma Mater. It's Mater. Here in Texas, that's Mater, and that's a vegetable / fruit you eat. Is tomato a fruit or a vegetable?
Isn't that the truck in the Cars movie series?
It's Mater. No, that's Tater.
No, it's Mater is the car.
No, it's Tater.
Mater is the truck. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to have to Google
I don't
this.
think so.
If you're listening along, at home just now, shout as loud as you can.
Get her done. That guy.
I'm telling you,
you might be right. You might be right. I think he's better. Okay.
There you go. I'm showing the camera just now. There you go. That's the one he goes. He goes, I think I made the right choice about who was going to be my best friend. That guy.
I tried to get Dan to do an American accent, and he refused. He said it was beneath him, basically, is what he said.
That's because he would have said, "You all come back now, you hear?" The stars at night are deep, big and bright. Deep in the heart, I'm not paying those prices. Anyway, he's a big celebrity now with his Cora Quest and his Cora Quest expansion and stuff like that. I'm
so glad that he's able to come on our show and continue to promote Cora Quest.
He's like goes on breakfast TV and stuff like that to talk about his games all and stuff, you know.
I mean, he's no Mike DeLizio, but he's trying to get there. He's trying to get there.
I think I've seen Mike's eyes of late, and they're certainly emerald green. I'm telling you, there's a bit of jealousy. There's a little bit. I don't want to say. You didn't hear that first. So are you kind of into your Euro style worker placement type games? I mean, is that what you're?
Yeah, that's our preferred style. I do have one. Lords of Vegas is in my top 5 of all time. I love that game. It's bidding, dice rolling, gambling. It's just stupid fun.
Ian from the Giant Brain news podcast, which you should consider listening to. They love Lords of Vegas. I always hear some very, very good things.
It's a great game, and if they like Lords of Vegas, they might be. What's the name of the podcast?
The Giant Brain.
The Giant Brain. Is it about me? Dedicated to Gaby of the Board Game Snobs? No.
Yes, I guess
just
it could.
Kidding.
I guess in your mind, it could be. It could be.
All right. So something I read on your blog post that you were switching. Okay, I'm a little dumb. Do you have a blog post that's not your WordPress, that's not we're not wizards.co.uk, which I don't understand?
Okay, so I have a blogspot, which is provided by Google. So I have we're not wizards.blogspot.com, Now, it used to be the case that if you typed in we'renotwizards.co.uk, it would redirect to the blogspot. But then I pay for my domain name and everything like that, and so the people who provide me with that also can provide me with hosting. So they gave me the option to build a WordPress website, which means it's away from Google, which means it's kind of independent. And also you're a bit more restricted in what you can do with the blogspot. So over the last kind of maybe 6 months, I've been almost double posting. I've been posting on the WordPress site, and I've also been posting on the blogspot site. But I'm going to be moving more and more towards the actual WordPress site, basically.
What does .co mean? I understand .uk, United Kingdom, I assume.
It's just the way, I think it's just got to do with the way that it came out, because it was either .co.uk or .com, but for some reason for the UK, they decided .co.uk. I don't know why that was most things are like just, we're not wizards.com. Why is that not available? It is, and I've got it, but I use it for the podcast. So if you go to we'renotwizards.com, it redirects to we'renotwizards.fireside.fm, where you'll find all of our podcasts, you see.
So I was reading I assume it was your last blog post, I'm not sure, about the advertisement of certain tables, Geek and Sons. Was that the last one?
Okay. Let's clear this up, because there was a whole pile of us got this kind of invitation to.
And I saw the Dragon's Tomb video.
Yes. Yes. Now, bless their cotton socks. The Dragon's Tomb they've always kind of taken things firmly with kind of like tongue in cheek and stuff like that. So they have. Yeah. I mean, I remember one of the funniest videos I saw from them was they did a letter jam, and they reviewed the game Letter Jam, and they opened up the box, and it was the Letter Jam box with jam in it. And he basically went to review it, and he's reviewed various different things, because he's the type of guy that if you get sent here's something to help you kind of, work from your desk. We know you're a tabletop content producer, but do you want to have this thing that allows you to stand at your desk? So he gets sent it, and he reviews it, and he mucks around with it. So a lot of us got this email to say, from Geek and Son saying, would you, we're going to be doing a kind of a partnership program. And of course, as I work with people like, I'm very, very lucky. I mean, I do regular stuff with Osprey Games. I'm on the AEG kind of content creators kind of, and I also do there'll be smaller publishers that'll reach out to me and say, hey, do you fancy a kind of a look at our game? And I'll do that. So Geek and Son kind of sent me the thing, and I, because it was like, because they sell like $2,000 gaming tables, yeah?
Yeah, they're not cheap.
They're not cheap. So the first thing that I did was I actually phoned them up. I phoned up their head office just in case, because there had been some other kind of scam emails going about of people pretending to be other things to get folks' details. And I phoned them up. I said, he's just aware of this. We had a conversation about it. And they said, yeah, it's real. It's genuine. And of course, in some people's eyes, I was like, well, how are we gonna do this? And then the long and the short of it was it turned out to be, we're not going to send you any kind of product to kind of review, which I'm sure people would realize. I mean, everybody kind of knew that there was no way that they were going to send out kind of $2,000 kind of gaming tables for people to review and then kind of send back. That wasn't kind of happen. But it did kind of become like it was kind of like, here, sign up for this affiliate marketing program. So basically become a marketeer for us and kind of market our gaming tables, and then you'll basically get a commission off the back of that. And that really, really, it's really funny, because in the kind of the reviewer site, and you guys, I mean, you're not, I always view you guys as you give opinions, you pretty much, a lot of the time, I would say 90% of the time, the games that you've always played, you've put money down on the table to buy those games. So as far as I'm concerned, if you want to say they're rubbish or they're brilliant or they're fantastic, then that's fine. There's no kind of connection. And for someone like myself, it's a little bit more of a grayer area, because it's like, well, I am being sent, I got sent the Horizon Zero Dawn board game by Steamforged, which is an expensive game. And it looks absolutely lovely, and I'm a huge fan of the video game, so I'm already kind of interested. And it comes down to that whole grey area of, well, if somebody sends you £100 worth of kit, how kind of unbiased can you be, kind of thing. But I think the thing that I think jumped in people's craw, as they would say here, is that they were basically, Geek and Some were coming out and saying, look, be marketeers for us and we'll give you money. And I think a lot of content creators at the time were kind of like, how dare you accuse us of literally marketing product? And, we want to get money through our Patreon. So it wasn't anything on their fault. I think it annoyed a lot of people because there was a lot of people that felt called out. They weren't going to get any. And there was a lot of people who were like, well, how am I meant to talk about your product and market your product without actually seeing your product or experiencing your product? Yeah. So there was a few people who were kind of annoyed at that. And my thoughts on it were just a case of, well, people felt kind of called out on it. You can't really kind of fault Geek and Son for asking people if they would be interested, because from their point of view, they were looking at, well, how do other tabletop companies market their products? Well, they're basically they're either giving money to people to get them to do kind of promotional videos, or they are sending them out product to get them to talk about it. We're not in this position to do it. So it was a bit of a brouhaha, to say the least.
Geek and Son, we are boardgamesnobs@gmail.com. We will take any monies that you feel free to send our way.
But that was the thing, though. They weren't actually giving any monies.
Oh, never mind.
There wasn't any monies kind of up front.
We will sell out.
I think all they were saying is, here, have an affiliate link, and if somebody kind of buys a table off you, then you get a commission off it. So people were like, oh my goodness. I spend hours reviewing these games and writing up about them, and then they potentially sell it. I think it was because people were directly involved in the sales side of things. Yeah. I don't get, when I write a review, when I wrote a review, and I published a review recently for the Transformers deck building game and the Power Rangers deck building game, both by Renegade Game Studios, they're very nostalgic heavy. They're super fun, kind of very simple-ish, kind of deck builders that have their own kind of representation of the IPs that they're representing. I don't get a follow-up email from Renegade Games to say, oh, thanks to your efforts, or thanks for your review, because it was like you had your positives and negatives in there, but thanks to you, we've had X amount of more traffic to the site, and it ended up converting into 10 sales. Mm-hmm. There's not that side of the whole equation. I don't
type in code "We're Not Wizards" for your new copy.
Exactly. I don't think when Shut Up and Sit Down do videos, or No Pun Included do videos, or even your Dragon's Tomb guy, they do videos. I don't think they then get email. They probably get like a little nice email to say thanks for featuring our product on your video. But I don't think they get the kind of the nitty gritty. Well, thanks to you, we sold 300 copies over the weekend, directly on our website, kind of thanks to you. So I think that was the kind of the bit where people were like, ooh, this is actually turning into sales, and I'm not sales. I'm a content
But that's
creator.
all reviewing. I mean, that's what you were saying. That's what you made a good. It's like they're calling us out for basically kind of what we are, but everybody likes to pretend that's not. I mean, board game content creators, for the most part, are marketing, and that's what people say.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're going to talk about this game. And if it's in a positive light, then most people are like, yeah, go buy this game. And that's what it is. Yeah. But I mean, you can be ticky-tacky about this and that. But we have been sent a few review copies over the years. We got Chaos Order just recently from Sam McDonald and Renegade. Is it Renegade? It's Garfield Games. I don't know if Renegade does it, but
yeah, I think
we liked
Garfield
it. We liked it a lot.
Yeah.
It was very good. But we've also been sent a few, and it's the whole thing of, if you get sent a review copy by the by the company themselves, are you going to give a positive review to maintain that relationship? Because if you give a negative review, you could take the chance of ruining that relationship and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but my job isn't to service the companies. I mean, there's games. I mean, I did one with Cosmos, which was for a game called Carrick, which is so much like CoreQuest. It's ridiculous.
Oh, really?
It's tile laying. It's tile laying and dungeons and characters and stuff like that. But it was missing out. It was in the sales side of things. We have a phrase. It's kind of like it was all sausage and no sizzle. As in the components were there for what could be a very, very good game, but it completely lacked any kind of heart or flair or anything that made me want to there wasn't any charm there. There was nothing. And that was because I had played CoreQuest some time ago. And that was something I was like, well, there's the kids' illustrations in it. It was just cutesy. It was fun. There was a lot of heart in it. So, I mean, and I wrote about that. But I said at the end, my son played it. When I played it with my son, he absolutely loved it. He thought it was the best thing. He thought it was the best thing kind of ever. So he would play it again. For me, I wouldn't play it again because it felt kind of very, very flat. So there are games that I'll be kind of critical of, and I think that's your job as a reviewer.
I think when we first started, I think Jerry used to like email and try to get review copies of stuff because we were just starting and looking for stuff to review. But at this point, it's almost like our whole brand has kind of changed. Our whole podcast of what we do has kind of changed. Like, people don't rely on us for the new hotness discussion or review. So we don't search that out. Every now and then it happens to coincide. Like, we got sent Chaos Order. We liked it, so we discussed it.
Yeah,
I bought Carnegie. I think it's relatively new, but I bought and paid for that myself. We have had a few we got Star Trek Conflict sent to us game. It was a flicking game dealing with Star Trek. WizKid sent it to us. The worst game of all time I've ever played. I absolutely hated it. We put that out, and I don't know that we've heard from WizKid since, but and we've had a few over the years be sent to us, and we're like, well, it was sent to us. We told them we would do a review. So here's a review. It sucks. I'm sorry, but we hated it. And I don't like doing that because, you don't want to be rude. And at the same time, though, you feel this integrity thing that I don't know. I try not to get that feeling.
People
too
keep
often,
saying honest. They keep using the word honest. And
I'm going to give you my honest review.
And it's like, your honest review means you don't like it, which means normally you give a normal dishonest review, which means you do like it.
Here's our dishonest review. Yeah.
And it was the same with, was it when I reviewed Shaman's, and I reviewed and here's a really good example. I reviewed Shamans and I just went, look, I'm not getting this. There's no spark here. There's no fire. Mechanically, it's very sound. Thematically, it's pretty sound, but I'm just not excited to kind of get it to the table. It's very competent. And Hachette Games, who they sent me the game to kind of review, they kind of went, here's reasons why I didn't. Here's Richard's review, and they actually retweeted it and said, it's good for people to actually explain maybe why something didn't hit home for them. Wow. And that was the first. That was extremely unusual, and my respect level for them kind of went from. It was already pretty high, but it went even higher for them to say, well, actually, here we're willing to kind of roll the punches here, and I think that. I think we're still needing to cross that wall in the board game kind of space. That any publicity is kind of good publicity. And I think there's still an awful lot of people kind of tied emotionally to their project. That it's very, very difficult. I mean, Hachette they're a distributor. So they don't care. They don't have necessarily a direct tie with like the designer developer. So I think sometimes they kind of just need to kind of jump over that wall and say, look, if we get like a negative review and that has like tons and tons of views, why not just promote that as well at the same time, because it's kind of helping getting the kind of the name out, and it might reach somebody who actually says, well, actually, that could be something I could see myself enjoying, you know.
Yeah, I saw something similar recently with Dan Thoreau of Space Biff.
Yeah.
He reviewed, I think, something to do with the Tidal Blades sequel or spin-off or something. And James Hudson, who is, I guess, a designer, marketer, I don't know. But he retweeted Space Biffs and was like, basically there was mutual respect there of, he didn't like our game, but of course he said it in a very respectful way and was able to say, this is what I didn't like about it. But, you know, some hits for people and some misses for people, and you may enjoy it. Yeah,
it was Tidal Blades banners, wasn't it? Because I saw the kind of the conversation.
Yeah.
Kind of about that.
So that's good that, you know, there can be, you know, I didn't like this. And of course, Dan is so ridiculously like his reviews. I need to break out a dictionary and take a college course in, because he uses terminology I can't understand. But very, very deep and insightful and smart. And I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, it's like he didn't like it, but you know, other people will, and that's a kind of a cliche, dumb thing to say, because of course everybody's tastes are different.
I just kind of end up writing how I talk. I want somebody kind of reading my reviews as if it sounds like we're just having a conversation about something, and I'm just kind of giving what I thought of it, kind of thing. I don't do a general kind of breakdown of components and stuff like that. I don't do a kind of like a general blow by blow of every single mechanic that's there. I'll pick up on mechanics that are interesting. I'll pick up on mechanics that I think work, or, you know, if like the artwork's special. It's like the Power Rangers review. I was like kind of like, well, the artwork's really good, but I've never seen Power Rangers is a real life thing, and all the artwork is kind of like comic book based. So kind of there's a little bit of kind of, it doesn't kind of 100% work, because you were kind of expecting kind of like real life characters, because that's what it's kind of based around. So there's kind of things like that, but I enjoy it. Do you know, right? Have you and Jerry not thought about, you know, taking up? I know that Jerry, it's hard to get Jerry to even respond to Patreons.
Jerry, don't get me started. He can't even do an email.
Take a drink. It's okay. Sorry. Take a drink.
I'm out. I've been needing to get a refill this whole time, but I've been have to.
So there you go. That's
just melted ice.
Suck on the fumes. I've got.
When we first started, of course, we come out with gusto. We had BoardGameSnobs.com, which we had written reviews.
Yeah.
But that required so much money per year, and we just didn't have time for it. And after, you know, like a year of us not doing a written review, we're like, you know what, we can't focus on this and a podcast. So it's like we had to, with our limited time, focus on just podcasting. So we let the BoardGameSnobs.com website go into defunctness.
All right.
But Jerry did write a few reviews. I wrote a few reviews. Jerry he needs a editor, and I had to go through and like him and his wife always kind of checked his writing, and his writing is funny and good, but as far as like punctuation and capitalization, that's his weak spot. So I would go through and kind of cover some of that, as well as Jennifer, his wife. And yeah, Jerry's a good writer. I enjoy the stuff that he always puts out there, but he ain't got time. He's not even on this show.
I reckon if I asked him to guess right something,
he would put out something very funny and also insightful.
Yeah, Tim from Sir Meeple, right? Here's an irony. We were writing comedy pieces for a bit, because we thought, well, we'll muck around and get some comedy pieces, and he wrote something about the was it called the clay warriors in China? You know the ones I'm talking about. The terracotta army, yeah. And we joked that you're basically Simon were going to do the terracotta army, but you were going to actually get life-sized miniatures sent to you, yeah. And 3 months later, a company had announced that they were doing the terracotta army board game, and we were just like, "Whoa, that's ridiculous!" It was so funny. So there you go.
pre-editing, we're at hour 16, and that's with all of our talk beforehand. Who knows what will get edited out of this? I like to keep it a tight 40.
Really?
But
wow.
I'm just I say that that's just generally where Jerry tires out of podcasting, and he's like, all right, let's do something else. So usually around the 40-minute mark we end up finishing an episode. But I like anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour and a half. That's good.
Well, let's set about this. I'll tell you what. Okay, this has been a lovely time. Let's not keep going until we both get tired and cranky, and then head down on a little kind of a thing. So
I've been out of whiskey for a while.
I know, and this is brilliant. It's like almost like a drying out session. You're going to get the shakes and the cramps any second now.
I'm starting to get them.
Do you want to tell the people where you exist on the internet webs? Where can people find the Board Game Snobs on the internet? Yeah.
You know what? Thank you for doing this for our own podcast, Richard, because we do have a Patreon we just started up. I will put the link in the show notes.
Okay.
Reviews on Apple are always helpful. We are close to 100 reviews, but we're not there. Wow. So if you listen on Apple and you can give us a review, not a 10-star because that's too much.
Yes.
Not a 1-star because we're not garbage.
That's right.
Just somewhere in the middle. 5-star review on Apple.
Because they are extremely average.
We are the epitome of mediocrity. Leave us a 5-star mediocre review on Apple. Yeah. Spotify, you can rate us 5 stars there.
Do that.
Anywhere that allows you to give us the highest of marks, please do so.
And you've also got your Facebook group, which you can find.
Our Facebook group, which has recently got over 400 members.
There you go.
All of which at least 10 post on a semi-regular basis.
Which is good.
We appreciate you. Our Facebook, our Instagram, all of these are linked in the show notes.
They will be.
And again, our Patreon, which someday I will be able to access and purchase a computer that does not crash, but we'll see what happens.
He's been shut out the money. And if you want to find out, if you want to follow and do stuff and just generally hang around outside my house and find out what we're up to. I am going to be podcasting more regularly from now on. I'm kind of like a bear that's come out of its cave and is ready
in hibernation.
Been in a bit of hibernation. But again, you can find us on we'renotwizards.com for the podcast. You can find us on we'renotwizards.co.uk for the blog. You can find us on we'renotwizards.blogspot.com for the old blog, which is still the new blog. It's still got the new stuff. All the stuff's the same. It doesn't matter. We're on Instagram at We're Not Wizards, Twitter at We're Not Wizards, Facebook, we've got We're Not Wizards, we've got 433 people. We've got our group, a private group, which is very, very private and friendly, and only certain people are allowed in there as well. You can find us occasionally on, and we're on TikTok. And we also do like reviews.
And We're is WERE, no apostrophe.
No apostrophe.
Because it's We're Not Wizards.
We were not wizards.
We were not wizards.
It's the irony of the entire thing. I've been going on about how I'm not wizards for years, but actually we were not wizards, which potentially means that we are now wizards. But, I'll let...
He doth protest too much.
I doth protest too much. I wish I knew what that meant.
Thank you for coming on and being my co-host this episode. Dan Hughes was tired of me calling, and I believe he was getting Core Quest tattooed in the small of his back upon this calling, and he wasn't available. Matthew Jude no longer returns my phone calls. Mike DeLizio's still stuck in the tower, so here we are.
Fantastic.
Not that you were my 5th pick, and Ben didn't answer his phone either, but that's okay.
Ben's out and about. Matthew Jude's traveling the world. I didn't know that
traveling. Ben's on his bicycle somewhere, no doubt.
I didn't know that Dan was getting that tramp stamp at last.
You didn't hear it from me.
Thank you very, very much for letting me come and pay a visit.
Enjoyed it very much, and this hopefully will not be the last time. Last time it was like October of 2020 since we're on here. I don't even
want to talk about that.
Let's make it sooner.
So long. Yeah, and when Jerry decides not to turn up again.
Whenever Jerry's not here, I will call.
Fantastic.
All right. Until next time, I'm Gaby.
And I'm Richard. And this is the We're Not Wizards Board Game Snobs podcast.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for tolerating this episode of the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.
You do have that. Is Michael Flatley Scottish or Irish? I always forget.
He's Irish.
Oh,
He's
my apologies.
Oh my goodness, Lord of the Dance.
My apologies.
It's like river dancing. It's it's like Irish country. You do get Scottish country dancing, and it's kind of like a mixture of Irish kind of country dancing, where you've got to have your arms kind of stuck right at the side,
glued to the side as your legs go to town.
As your legs literally look like somebody who has. Their legs have gone to sleep, and then somebody's picked them up by their head, and their legs are just going, what's going on here? What's doing? And it's like, and it was amazing at the time. And I think for a time, he probably, the guy that invented it, or the guy that made it popular, Michael Flatley, probably didn't have to pay for a meal in any town that he went to. I think that he pretty much kind of ruled the roost. He was I think he started Riverdance, and then he went to Lord of the Dance. And that's where
Lord
really,
Flatley.
really, Lord Flatley, Michael Flatley, and then he disappeared. It was like there was this big, bright, burning Flatley, and then all of a sudden it was a sizzly flame. And I'm pretty sure he's probably come back. He's probably doing things alongside kind of health and safety fire, health and safety fire inspections kind of thing. And we're going to show you where the exits are today. And now we have Michael Flatley from Lord of the Dance, who's going to show you how to go down the stairs.
He kind of walked like Fred Flintstone. The Flintstones walked with their arms to their sides.
Is that not something to do with animation? And is that not something to do with probably saving frames and
cells, etc., etc.
So we should do it. We should do an intro, shouldn't we? Are we gonna keep recording? Is this going to be part of the show, or are you going to do your usual?
I don't know. Whatever you want.
We're
very loosey goosey here.
We are very. Do you know what happens? This is because there's no.
This is calm.
There's no Enrique.
Relaxed.
There's no Enrique. There's no Jerry shouting at us. What you doing it this way for? What you doing it that way for? I'm going to come down there with my bear traps, and I'm going to lay them outside your door, and then you're going to be recording them in a certain way. And then I'm going to go back to nursing. And do you know, the other day I was like, I had to punch a hyena in the face to save it from this burning house of squirrels. And they were just going to burn it.
And you got to stop them. You have to interject. You have to interject to get him to stop telling stories. And then anytime you get him to stop telling a story so that you can talk, then he's always just looking for the next moment that he can jump in and continue on a 10-minute conversation about stuff he does. It's all about him. Jerry, euthanizing the elderly.
Couples counselling. This is what this is. We're in couples counselling. Welcome to We're Not Board Game Wizard Snobs. My name's Richard, and
hello.
And alongside me today is I've got Gaby, who's doing his usual amazingness.
Glad to be here, Richard. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for me kind of having. It's kind of like almost like. We've looked down and realised that I'm standing on your feet and you're standing on my feet. And we're just going to have to kind of run with this. I think one of the things to point out very, very quickly is that over here there's been like a football event, like a kind of a women's World Cup soccer kind of thing, and. England, the English men, they played their competition and they lost in the final. But literally in the last kind of 15, 20 minutes, the English women, the Lionesses as they're called, they've beaten Germany to a historic win.
Congratulations!
Well, it's nothing to do with me because obviously I'm not English, okay. But. But
congratulations.
Yeah. Congratulations then, mate.
Congratulations.
Well done. Congratulations.
Don Hughes and everyone else that suddenly will claim the team as their own.
Exactly, that they've been watching. I've been watching since the very beginning, I have.
It was a good game, ain't it?
I love your English accent. It's always the best. It's always fantastic. It was absolutely brilliant. I thought they were amazing. I've been watching them since 1974.
Before they were even incepted.
Before they were even born.
I knew they would be here someday.
I was going to get tickets. I was going to get tickets, but I won't pay them prices. Yeah. So no, but that's a big piece of news. I mean, it's really funny because what people were actually saying was that, and here's a fact is that that basically women were banned from actually playing football up until about, I think it was something up until about 101 years ago or something like that. The end of the First World War.
You can't kick a ball around. You're a female.
Do you know what? It's interesting because if you look into the history, I know we're not going to go anywhere near board games, but we are going to go near board games. We've got the board games.
I prefer not to go into the history of things, but go ahead. But
know that, that Jerry is away, and as we said, I know that you do like people that go off on their own tangents about stuff. But literally, during the First World War, women started playing football at the same kind of professional level that the men were doing. And then at the end of the First World War, they banned women from playing football because they then deemed, with all the guys coming back from the trenches from World War I, they decided that women weren't meant to be playing football. So people think that women playing football was a new thing, but during the First World War, when they were taking care of the munitions and they were working in factories and they were basically working the farms and keeping the United Kingdom going, they were also playing football at the weekends as well, and there was leagues and everything like that going on. And people say, well, women's playing football is just a recent thing. It's not. It's been going on for a little while. So now them winning the World Cup is just a really big thing. It's like a culmination of all these things. So it's
basically like
exciting.
Them saying we don't really need men. I mean, really?
Well, I suppose they can turn around to the kind of the English men's team. And
now that we're done fighting, we're back and we're going to take back over.
You're just, yeah, we've won. You didn't, what did you do?
Men are the worst.
What did you do in your final? Well, you lost. That's what you did. We went ahead and we won.
Let us all down, you did. Let us all down.
Special guest Dick Van Dyke. Go bleeding blimey, governor. He had a cup of tea.
Poppins. Yeah. Shim shiminy, shim shiminy, shim shim shim.
Step in time. Absolutely fantastic.